Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierra. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piowarski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most here on The Rundown. Two-way views, conservative news, and Craig, guess what day it is?
Uh-oh. Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's hump day.
Hump day!
It's hump day.
Hump day!
That's right, folks. Today is hump day. This is the day in which we attempt to begin the weekend, sometimes with success, sometimes not. But the fun is all in trying.
Yeah. Fun day today. Fun day.
Fun day. I am having so much fun.
Fun day. Speaking of hump day,
Yes.
see this hump over here in my jawline?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I understand you had a bit of a procedure done today. Would you get a jaw reduction or something?
Little root canal. Got me
Little
some
root canal. Okay. What are you taking for the pain?
Rocky Patel quarter century.
Oh, nice. I've really gotten into smoking Rocky Patels lately. I have not tried that one in particular though.
Rocky Patel quarter century. Now you can buy a case.
Very nice.
I'll tell you where later. You can buy the whole case of 20 for under $100 right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shoot. Okay. Yeah. No. Don't tell everybody. At least not till after I order mine.
Yeah. Tomorrow's show we'll tell everybody. Today's show we order.
Today's show we order. Tomorrow y'all get yours. Man, I'll tell you, it's funny. I would probably say up until a few years ago, I may smoke one cigar or two cigars a year. I probably smoke more cigars when I'm hanging out with you than any other time. But now I'm like, I'm smoking at least a couple of cigars every week. We got a thing where we get together and watch Monday or Thursday night football, smoking cigars. Me and the son-in-law go out in the back patio, smoke cigars. My son, when his wife lets him go smoke cigars, he'll come out and smoke a cigar. But yeah, so we have a great time. I'm smoking more cigars now than ever.
You know why he smokes them with you? It's not because he likes you, because he knows if he smokes them with you, he's not going to get in trouble. Because
Exactly.
She's not going to yell at daddy. She'll yell at husband, but she's not going to yell at daddy.
Exactly. I love my daughter-in-law. I'll tell you what, she looks out for the best interest of my son. I'm going to tell you, she definitely has his back. And he's not far enough in the marriage to be like, look, woman.
Yeah.
I mean, at least he'll get there. He will get there.
Yeah.
He just ain't there yet.
No. It takes a while.
I'll put it to you this way. I wasn't there at that stage of my marriage.
It's a process. It's a process.
Yeah. It's a process. Well, see, you have to get them to the point where they're like, look, I've got so much time invested in training him. I'm like, I don't want to start over with another one.
That's right. That's exactly right. She does the risk versus reward thing, you know?
Exactly. It's like, See, just so you know, and crazy, don't tell your wife. What she doesn't know is you're not really being trained. You're just playing along until that investment level hits the point till you get tenure. That's what it is. Once you get tenure, then it's like, all right, look, it's time to rewrite some rules, or at least just start ignoring some.
That's it. Is the juice worth the squeeze?
Is the juice worth the squeeze? And I'll tell you, especially when you have a good marriage. Yeah, when you have a good marriage, here's the thing: you learn to overlook the little things. It's like you get to a point where you're like, look, I know her craziness. She knows my craziness. I don't want to learn someone else's craziness.
That's exactly right. See, I know her craziness. That's pretty much it, yeah. Because I'm not crazy.
Yeah. Mike, I totally believe you.
I'm regular.
regular. Dude, you're from New York and you live in Florida. There's nothing regular about you.
I'm an expat. I like to call myself an ex-New York pat.
The only thing more irregular would be if you were from New Jersey and moved to Florida.
You know, I remember one time my wife said, "Ooh, let's do it in a dirty place." So I took her to Newark.
Oh, I hope Kevin Sona is listening to this one. Anyway, folks, let's go ahead and get into today's program. But we're going to start off the same way we usually do, and that is with a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah, let's say hi to our good friends at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. If you want to get yourself some AR barrels, that's the place to get them. Rifle caliber, pistol for any length you desire. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. If you want the best in tactical concealed holsters, get on the old internet and go to hogholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. That's all one word, no spaces, all caps. Get yourself a nice little discount. And if you need some gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, fire, security, EMS, personal, paintball, whatever you got. Boy Scout, probably got that too. Check them out at get your group together, get your agency together, place an order at uscombatgear.com, where they have everything except the gun.
That's right, folks. These are our sponsors. They bring us to you so that we can bring you to them. Do us a favor, do them a favor, do yourself a favor. Visit their websites. I promise you will like what you see. You'll want to spend some money with them, so do it. And then when you do, make sure you let them know it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. Also want to encourage you, if you are watching this program live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Rumble, however you are watching this program, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, you're watching it live, and we're taking your comments live. So if you got something to say, if you like what we have to say, if you don't like what we have to say, let us know. If you just want to give us a shout out from wherever you are watching the program, let us know. If we find it to be interesting, we'll go ahead and we will put it out there. Now, you do not have to agree with us, right, in order for it to be interesting. In fact, it's always more interesting if you disagree with us, because then you have the opportunity to mock you.
Oh, wow. Is that a mockingbird?
Man, is that a mockingbird? Is that a mockingbird?
Yeah, I love that. And well, you know, as Mike has said, that is the actual state bird of Florida.
Yep. Come on down. We will mock you.
Come on down. We will mock you.
Yep.
Fun stuff. All right, let's go ahead and get into today's program. And we're going to start off this first one here. I'll tell you, it is a very interesting story and very interesting things that are going on. The House voted. Only one person voted no on sending the Epstein files or opening up or sending out the Epstein files and making them public. And he did so, I think, for a good reason. He basically did so because he's like, look, you know what? We're violating just a whole bunch of norms here in terms of passing something like this. And the biggest reason why we're doing it is not about justice. He's like, it's about sensationalizing and giving Republicans and or Democrats more cannon fodder to go after the other side. Anyway, so I get why he voted no. But then in the House, they gave it unanimous consent, so everybody supported it. But based on what the House already has, we're starting to see more and more that this is, in this book about Epstein, there is no Trump chapter except when Trump kicked his ass out of Mar-a-Lago. But we are starting to see that more and more that there are some relationships with some Democrats. Now, let's be clear. When we start off, this is not what Democrats intended. And here we have Representative James Comer, who is kind of pointing out the difference between how Republicans have handled this and how Democrats have handled it.
The gentleman from Kentucky is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As chairman of the House Oversight Committee, I've always believed that sunshine is the best disinfectant. For years, the American people have demanded transparency about Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's horrific crimes and about the federal government's failure to protect the victims. The House Oversight Committee is conducting a thorough review of the federal government's investigation into Epstein. Our work goes far beyond the legislation before us today. We are committed to accountability, transparency, and justice for the American people and for the survivors of these appalling crimes. To date, the Oversight Committee has released more than 65,000 pages of documents, issued 13 subpoenas, and conducted interviews with 2 key witnesses, both of whom were Republicans. The Trump administration has provided us with Department of Justice materials and access to suspicious activity reports. Unfortunately, throughout this investigation, Democrats have chosen to manufacture yet another anti-Trump hoax instead of pursuing justice. They have mischaracterized witness testimony and selectively released documents complete with targeted redactions in an effort to smear President Trump. For example, former U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr, who oversaw the 2019 Epstein investigation, stated clearly under oath that the prosecution team found no evidence that President Trump committed wrongdoing. Despite this simple and straightforward fact, Ranking Member Robert Garcia, moments after that deposition, tiptoed out and publicly claimed that, quote, Barr could not clear Trump of wrongdoing. That was a lie, and we have the transcript to prove it. I invite the media to read the transcript. When the Oversight Committee interviewed former U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, Alex Acosta, Democrats whipped themselves into a frenzy trying to manufacture a gotcha moment. But they failed. Mr. Acosta dismantled the Democrats' narrative. His testimony confirmed there was no contact between President Trump and Mr. Acosta and no connection between President Trump in the Epstein case. Next, Democrats resorted to selective leaks and doctored documents to mislead the American people. Oversight Committee Republicans have posted 65,000 pages of documents we have received to date. Democrats, by contrast, have released fewer than 1 dozen. In their latest selective leak, Democrats released just three of the 23,000 pages of documents from the Epstein estate, and they may redact.
So the point here is that what they're doing is that Democrats are trying to use this as a way in which to bludgeon Republicans, a way in which to go after Republicans. And it's not working because all of the evidence, everything that's out there is showing that, yeah, no, Trump really did absolutely nothing wrong. But here's the real key case here. And the thing to point out is now all of a sudden we're finding out that Democrats are the ones who are closely connected with Mr. Epstein.
Democrats released only 3 emails. Republicans released over 23,000 pages. And what did Democrats say in response when we released every single document that we got? They claimed full transparency was meant to, quote, disorient or distract from their manufactured narrative. These are the same Democrats who chant, release the files every day until the files contradict the story they want to tell. That is the definition of hypocrisy. In contrast, full transparency exposed how Epstein appears to be TDS patient zero. The emails reveal a journalist coached Epstein to blackmail then presidential candidate Donald Trump.
The gentleman is recognized.
The files also show that a House Democrat colluded with Epstein during the 2019 oversight hearing to discredit witness with a vendetta against President Trump. And unsurprisingly, Democrats have been silent about their colleagues' coordination with Epstein. Another email shows Democrat fundraisers invited Epstein to an event or to meet privately with Hakeem Jeffries as part of their 2013 effort to win a majority. So Hakeem Jeffries' campaign solicited money from Jeffrey Epstein. That's what we found in the last document batch. The files underscore why former President Trump must appear for his deposition. We've subpoenaed him. To date, the Democrats have done nothing to help us secure his appearance. I support full transparency. The Oversight Committee will continue to work to get the truth to the American people and to get justice for the victims. That's our goal of this investigation. With that,
Now, what's funny is you still got Democrats, even though the facts are out there, they are flat out lying. And they're not only flat lying about it, they're lying on the floor of the House of Representatives.
I heard recently from someone that I was seeking advice from him. Let me tell you something. I don't need to get advice on how to question anybody from any individual.
This exchange, Mr. Epstein sent a text message to the gentlelady from the Virgin Islands. He brings up Rona, keeper of the secrets. And who's he referring to? Rona Graff. That's a Trump assistant. And Plaskett responds, Rona? Question mark. Quick, I'm up next. Is that an acronym? So she wants to know what Mr. Epstein wants her to talk about. Don't you find that interesting? I find that really intriguing, especially since we know what Mr. Epstein was. And Epstein responds, that's his assistant. Doesn't really say much more than that. And then Plaskett starts questioning Mr. Cohen and asks about Graf. So not only was she texting, having this communication with Mr. Epstein, she's asking Mr. Cohen what Mr. Epstein wants her to ask.
I'm sorry. And by the way, keep in mind, this is well after Jeffrey Epstein has been convicted of sleeping with children.
Yeah. I don't know how they turn this around, Craig. I mean, you and I sit here and listen to it and think, wow, she's lying. I mean, it's just clearly she's lying, but this is the standard way. They're going to get up there and they're going to preach it and, and pretend it's the gospel, and the media is going to take them at their word. And then all those little Democrat sheep are going to say that Trump's a pedophile. That's how it's going to work.
But Mike, wait, there's more.
Harold said that Trump blocked this. I mean, Trump was the guy that arrested him in 2019 when Democrats were hanging out with Epstein.
I blocked the release of the files, I said yesterday.
Okay. Trump arrested him. Trump put him in prison. Bush arrested him. Democrats hang out with the guy and then take his money and collude with him. This is not a Republican scandal. This guy's a Democrat. He's a dead Democrat pedophile. He's a New York financier and an Ivy League guy. He's in those circles. These aren't our circles, Harold. Bill Clinton was on his plane. He was at Bill Clinton's White House 17 times. Bill Richardson, Summers now, all of a sudden he steps down after everything came out. Hakeem Jeffries was soliciting money from Epstein after he was convicted of being with a 14-year-old. That's disgusting.
And by the way, I know he just he rattled off those accusations, but just so you know, for those of you watching, all of it is substantiated in the emails that have already been released. The 20,000 emails, of which the Democrats only gave you 3, and the Republicans gave you the other 20, what was it? 19,997. Yeah. I just keep thinking back to that famous quote in the Star Wars movie when Donald Trump refused to release all this stuff. I just keep thinking when Donald Trump refused, I think back to that movie, and I keep thinking about the General Akbar, where he says, "It's a trap."
Yeah. I thought you were going to say when Luke Skywalker was standing in front of Kylo Ren and said, "Amazing, everything you just said was a lie."
There is that. But I'm like, and here's the thing. It just reminds me of that one where, it's like whatever Donald Trump says, Democrats are going to do the opposite. And sometimes I wonder, and I don't know if Donald Trump is just really honestly playing 4D chess, or if he is just that good where he said, no, we shouldn't release the files. They forced the release of the files. He's like, okay, go ahead and release the files. And now they're all being exposed.
Yeah, we even had conversation offline yesterday that Trump's little dispute currently with Marjorie Taylor Greene is Trump, redirecting, giving the Democrats something to do. Oh, let's have a fake fight with Marjorie and they can focus on this for a little while.
Now I'll be honest with you. I honestly think this is Marjorie Taylor Greene trying to take over MAGA. I do. I think that in the end, Marjorie Taylor Greene is about Marjorie Taylor Greene and always has been. I'm not saying she didn't work for the press. She didn't try to help the president or anything like that. I just think MTG is about MTG, and she's trying to take over MAGA post Trump, and Trump's like I'm not gone yet.
Yeah.
Don't throw me. You're not just gonna take this stuff over until I'm done. And even when he's done, I think his last 2 years, when most presidents are lame ducks, I think are going to be more influential than just about any other president that has ever been in their last 2 years.
I think that old Marjorie, she would have a shot at it, Craig, if it wasn't for the fact that she's absolutely batshit crazy.
There is that.
There is that. Yeah. And if I had to pick which person in the Hill has got a white sheet hanging in the closet,
and a prescription from a therapist and someone on speed dial to come with the paddy wagon to pick her up.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Padded paddy wagon.
Yep.
It would be MTG. I'm sorry. But you know, it's funny because Democrats have long been trying to hold her up as an example of the leadership of the Republican Party. I'm like, you do know, I always, because I got asked that multiple times when I would go on liberal shows, and I said, you do know that she got thrown out of the Liberty Caucus, right? The most conservative right-wing group within Congress. She got thrown out. Nobody on the right takes MTG seriously, which is why she's doing what she's doing.
The Liberty Caucus was like, she brought the sheet to the meeting? What? Come on.
I do, yeah. I have no response to that.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, but I tell you what I do have a response to, and this is something that no one, once again, is talking about. At least no one in mainstream media, no one on the left is talking about. So I have to go to news sources that are quality. When I say quality, I mean Breitbart has turned into. I'm not going to say that it hasn't always been kind of. Well, it's still right wingy. But in terms of accuracy of news reporting, they have far surpassed their competition on the left. And this report that basically points out that migrant activists are attacking ICE and Border Patrol officers with autos is spot on. It says here, DHS added that the attacks are driven by hateful rhetoric from sanctuary politicians, leftist activists, and the mainstream media. The department said in a statement published on Tuesday. The statement added that there have been nearly 100 vehicle attacks this year, endangering both law enforcement officers and the public who might be in the path of these dangerous acts. Quote, we are seeing the results of the left's constant demonization of the men and women of law enforcement, dangerous criminals, whether they be illegal aliens or U.S. citizens, are turning their vehicles into weapons to attack ICE and CDP. Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said. Still, the brave men and women of DHS will not be deterred and will continue arresting the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens. Anyone who attacks law enforcement, especially using vehicles, will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Now, I think it's important to note here, one of the reasons why they're putting this out is because you keep seeing reports about ICE agents or federal agents shooting people. Well, they're shooting people who are in cars that are attempting to run them down. Right now, if you don't understand that a car can be used as a weapon, I encourage you, have your worst enemy get behind the vehicle of their car, whatever kind of vehicle it is, and encourage them to do their worst. And I promise you, they'll do some damage, and they could do some damage in that vehicle. It is a thing. It is definitely a thing. And when you decide you're going to attack an officer with a multi-ton piece of metal and fiberglass in an attempt to do them harm, that's attempted murder, and it's attempted murder of a federal agent. And last I checked, that's something that you could get shot for.
Yeah, listen, using your vehicle against an officer or against an officer in a vehicle is deadly force, and they are allowed to respond in kind with deadly force to stop it. I know you switched to me on the single cam, but
Oh,
End of comment.
end of comment. That was a quick one. Mike,
Yeah.
a man of very few words on that particular point. But it is, and I don't understand why people. Well, I understand why they don't get that, because the media is not reporting that people tried to run them down, or if they do point it out, they do it later in the story. Not in the beginning. It's definitely not in the headline. And when you consider the fact that a lot of people, and Mike, I'm telling you, I've seen the studies that show where, in particular, where Gen Z gets their news. A lot of people are getting their news from like TikTok.
Oh yeah.
Now,
10 seconds at a time. Yep.
Oh,
yep.
yeah. Have you ever had somebody like someone on the left send you an argument like, look, what do you think about this? And they send you a video from some rando on TikTok. And it's like, okay, where is he citing his sources? Where's he getting his information? Where does any of this come from? I don't know, dude. Why are you trying to? I mean, I'm like, and this is where you get your news?
Yeah. The only time I've seen somebody get on and talk about that specific issue, Craig, the actual using the vehicle, its deadly force, and officers can respond in such a way. You remember the chief of the Chicago Police Department?
Yes.
They were doing a news brief, and the media was covering him because they figured Chicago PD, this guy's got to be as liberal as we are. And he got on there and started saying, if you attack a cop, you might get killed, you might get shot. They were like, damn it, did nobody do the background on this guy first?
Well, no, because I mean, here's the thing. I mean, even though that was the other thing. The other thing that he made sure to point out was when his bosses were telling him, when the city was telling them, don't respond to calls for assistance, he was like, we will show up and help fellow law enforcement officers when they are in distress, when they are being attacked. He's like, I'm not having any of that.
Yep.
And here's the thing, folks. It ain't because dude is right wing. You know what it is? It's because if his officers are in a position or in that position and they need assistance, they want other law enforcement officers to show up too.
You go. I don't care if there's a guy that you work with who's a total butt clown and you can't stand the guy. If he calls for help, it's like your life's on the line. You get there to help them.
Exactly.
You never want to be the guy on the other end that somebody says, I don't like that guy, I'm not going.
Right. That is, by the way, not showing up is a crime.
Yeah.
Law enforcement not showing up is a crime. You hear the call for assistance and you don't show up, your ass could wind up in jail.
Yep.
And It should, by the way.
Yeah.
It very much should. And that's why when you have people that are encouraging law enforcement or trying to order law enforcement not to show up, not to be there, don't let somebody else write a check that your ass has to cash. That bad juju. Bad juju. All right. You have people right now, in particular on the left, not just on the left, you have some people on the right too, who are like, well, we need to fight for these H-1B visas and in particular HB1 visas for people who are not necessarily exceptionally skilled workers. They want to say, look, we have this labor shortage. Well, no, a recent study now is showing that we do not have, in fact, a labor shortage. What we have is we literally have millions of Americans who have still not entered the workforce, who have refused to enter the workforce. This is being reported by our friends over at Breitbart. It says millions of native-born Americans at their prime working age remain out of the nation's labor market, new analysis details. Center for Immigration Studies researchers Stephen, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that last name, and Karen Ziegler published the analysis this week showing that the share of American men and women who are working age but who are not in the workforce is still historically high. In particular, just 11.3% of working age American men were out of the labor market. Today, more than 21% of working age American men are not in the labor market. Even among American men considered to be in their prime for employment, age 25 to 54, more than 11% today are not holding jobs. That figure was just 4% in 1960. Put another way, the researchers found millions of American men have dropped out of the workforce in the last 65 years. Quote, if the same share of U.S.-born men 16 to 64 were in the labor force in 2025, as in 1960, there would be 8.9 million more U.S.-born men in the labor force. I'm gonna try it now. Camarota and Ziegler, right. Even if the share returned only to 2000 level, it would still be 4.1 million U.S. Born men in the labor force. Now, once again, I want you to look at these graphs here. And this first one here, the first one is someone with no bachelor's. That's the percentage of them with no bachelor's. 27.6% are not in the labor force, all education levels. And then obviously down here, you have bachelor's degree or more. I mean, dude, Mike, basically, and by the way, so you folks know and understand, these are the people who are getting kicked off of SNAP. These are the men who are getting kicked off of Medicaid because they refuse to go to work. They're able-bodied, which basically means they got no problem. I mean, there's no reason. They have no physical reason why they cannot work. And then on top of that, the ones that are getting kicked off of SNAP and are getting kicked off, which is food stamps, that are getting kicked off of SNAP and that are getting kicked off of Medicaid, it's because they won't spend 20 hours a week either working, looking for work, volunteering, or trying to get an education. And by the way, they're not parents. They're not the primary caregivers of their children. So kids ain't starving because they're not getting SNAP. I mean, these are the deadbeats,
Right.
that are basically that Democrats are fighting for, that they shut down the government over, both them and the illegal immigrants.
Well, why would they work, Craig, when you're just going to give them money for free and there's no end date to it? You know, it used to be 6 months is what you got. That was enough time for you to retrain in a new job and get your, pull up your bootstraps and get to work, but don't have to, Craig. Imagine what would, like you said, what would happen if 4.1 million people, and this is what's going on, right, are losing them food stamps. And you better get back to work. All right. And Craig, listen, and the reason they're not skilled for jobs because these are those people that bought into the minimum wage thing. Oh, it's going to go up. It's going to go up, right? I'll just keep working at a minimum wage job, and then somebody's going to give me $90,000 a year to run the fry machine. Nope. Minimum wage jobs were designed to introduce you to the job market and make a little extra cash while you're in high school or college or your first job. That was it. You learn what it's like to show up for work on time, be in uniform, and do your job because that's your job recommendation, whatever your next job is, even if it's an accountant. All right. All I did was work in McDonald's. I went to accounting school. Now I'd like a job. Guess where they're going to go? To McDonald's to see if you showed up on time. You're going to use your job history. But no, these people have decided rather sit at home with no experience, cashing checks because 4.1 million people remember who gave them those free money, and they're going to vote for them. They are bought votes is what they are.
The thing is that America has always been compassionate, right? Americans are not going to let Americans starve. We're not going to let Americans die because they can't get health care. And we're not. But what we're not going to do is design a program that ahead of time is what we should not be doing is having a program that ahead of time tells you, yeah, no, you have no responsibility for yourself. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and foot the bill. So just go ahead and chill at home. Because here's the thing. And most Americans are not gonna take advantage of that. Most won't, but there's enough that will abuse the system. And here's the thing, folks like this, they're taking resources away from single moms, away from the disabled, away from the elderly, away from the people who really need it because they're not able-bodied, because they can't go to work, because they don't have anyone to watch it. I mean, people who really need it lose resources because these folks are taking those resources. And that's who Democrats are fighting for. Those folks who aren't interested in the people who really need it.
Again, because they're buying those votes is why they keep giving them their money. These slackers, these people that refuse to get jobs. Listen, here you go. I'm going to quote a Democrat for you, for all the slackers out there. Listen, right? Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Well, you want to know what you can do for your country? Get off your ass and get a job.
Exactly. Hey, Patrick over at the Gun Foodie has chimed in. He said, "Hello, gents. We need terms for these programs." You know what's funny? And here's what I'll tell you about that. That's the one thing that I will give, and I will totally, not totally, but I will give credit to Bill Clinton, because Bill Clinton actually negotiated and agreed to the idea of limiting these things. Okay, look, tell you what, we'll extend benefits, we'll increase benefits, but what we'll also do at the same time is you're only going to get it for so much time, and if you ain't working after then oh well.
No, it's true, and that was a carryover from Reagan and Bush 1.
Yes,
and Bill Clinton did it. It was 6 months from 92 to 2000. It was 6 months is what you got.
Right.
And listen, I'll go with 6 months, Craig. Stuff happens. A company shuts down. You get a financial crisis at the house. 6 months is enough for you to pull up the bootstraps, get a little job education, start looking for a job, and get back to work.
You know what? I'll tell you something. And I remember when all this went down, and I had a sister who was dependent on the system. And when she realized that the gravy train was over, she first thing she did was she moved states, because she moved to some place where it was more inexpensive for her to live and raise her kids.
Yep.
She got a job. She's doing so well. And it was literally, it started because she was like, okay, that gravy train is over now. I need to take care of myself. And she is doing so much better now than she was then. Back then, she was barely existing. I mean, I won't say barely existing, but she was living at this level because she could live there for free. When she realized she couldn't live at this level for free, she went to work, she went to do yada, yada, yada. Now she's living at this level. I mean, dude, she owns property in Mexico, all right? And in Florida. I mean, she's doing well for herself. And it was all because she was forced to provide for herself. And turned out she was much more capable than the government was to take care of her.
I get a friend that says, why should they get a job? They're riding a gravy train with biscuit wheels.
There you go. That is so true. That is so true. All right, this next story is one that I am sure, once again, as many of the things that we report on here will not surprise you. But hey, you know what? Socialists support socialists. That's kind of what they do. And Mondani decided he is going to support somebody who, quite frankly, is not just a socialist, not just apparently an Islamist, but is clearly an America hater. This particular candidate that this individual is supporting, and this is being reported by our friends over at the Washington Free Beacon, it says here, Socialists Unite. Mondani throws support behind a state assembly candidate who blamed 9/11 on America. It says here, New York City Mayor-elect Zoran Mondani is backing a far-left candidate for New York State Assembly who said 9/11 was a manifestation of America's, quote, system of capitalism, racism, white supremacy, and Islamophobia. Mamdani, a member of the Democratic Socialists of America, endorsed Palestinian activist Amber Kawas at a DSA meeting on Wednesday, the New York Daily News reported. The endorsement, the mayor-elect's first foray into local politics since his election win, is already garnering pushback because Mamdani did not support Kawas's primary opponent, a Spanish speaker with close ties to Queens District, which is predominantly Hispanic. Kawas, who holds a master's degree in Islamic liberation theology, that's hilarious, from South African University, and who moved to the district last year told a panel in 2017 that, quote, the system of capitalism and racism and white supremacy, etc., have all, and Islamophobia have all been used, to colonize lands, right? Right, to take resources from other people. And so this is like a long trajectory, and we're just seeing the manifestation of that continuation right with 9/11. She had a whole bunch of rights up in there. That's kind of like her version of I guess. But Mike, I'm like, dude, I mean, she said 9/11 was America's fault in the place where 9/11 happened.
Hey, socialists are going to socialize. That's just, that's what they're going to do. What they're going to do.
Well, but see, I don't even, I mean, here's the thing, and this is what's funny about the Democratic Socialists of America. They're not even really socialists. They literally are Marxists because they're a conglomerate. I mean, think about this. This woman is an Islamist, right? She supports terror. By the way, just so you know, when you call someone an Islamist, it means they support the idea of terrorism as a tool in order to promote or in order to take down, quote unquote, Zionism, or in order to take down Israel or capitalism or the West. In other words, for them, terrorism, and by the way, all of the violent acts that go into that they believe are part of the religion of Islam. Not every Muslim is an Islamist. Let's be clear. There are plenty of Muslims who are peace abiding, who do not believe in violence as a tool to promote their faith. Islamists believe in violent jihad, and they either promote it, or at the very least, if they're in the political realm and they're public, they don't discourage it. They don't condemn it when it happens. And that's an example of who this chick is.
Johnny Jihad. Yep, that's it.
Yep. Johnny and Jane Jihad. That's exactly who they are. And that is who Mamdani supports. So, Zoltan. So, just so y'all know, not saying, just saying, right?
Yep.
All right. All right, folks, that now brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, one word, and to get your Hog Holster today. All right, this first one, by the way, all three of these are brought to you by our friends over at the Babylon Bee, fake news that you can trust. Now, Mike, you do know that there is a tie-in between the person who attempted to assassinate both Donald Trump as well as the person who actually assassinated Charlie Kirk. And that has to do with their relationship or their foray into furryism. Well, according to the Babylon Bee, fake news that you can trust, authorities zeroing in on leader of furry terrorist cell.
Sir Charles Edward Cheddar.
Sir Charles Edward Cheddar. There you go. That is who it is. You're probably 100% right. Now, here's another one here. And I thought, and I was just waiting for this to start happening because it just makes too much sense. To save time, ICE begins mass arrests of everyone at soccer fields.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good shot. I mean, it's not profiling if it's true.
It's not it ain't profiling if it's true. And then in the war, in the war between all of the GPTs, or all of the AIs, there's a new AI out there, and I think this one is probably the most human-like of all. New dad GPT just responds to all queries with okay.
Yeah. Now, if it just said K, then it would
K.
then I'd believe it. Yeah.
Well, because all right, so you say K as if dad is texting.
Yes.
Now, normally when you're asking dad something, when people ask me something, I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, what'd you ask?
Yeah. Yep. K.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, whatever. Okay. 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 All right.
Okay. Okay.
All right, folks. Well, that's about it. Oh, wait. We have Donnie. Wait, Donnie R57 gave us out a yo.
Yo, Donnie. Yo,
Donnie, thank you so much for tuning in. Let us know where you're watching us from. And once again, encourage your friends to tune in. But we're going to have to call it a day. Well, not quite yet. We're going to call it a day in just a second. We're going to do so right after we give a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah, let's say hi to Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. You want to get some AR barrels. They got rifle caliber, pistol caliber, any length you desire. You can use them to rebarrel your current platform or for your building your next AR platform. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. If you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, fire, security, EMS, paintball, Cub Scouts, probably Girl Scouts too. They probably got it all. These guys got it all. Get your group together, get your agency together. Place an order at uscombatgear.com where you can get everything except the gun.
That's right, folks. These are our sponsors that they bring us to you so that we can bring you to them. Do us a favor, check them out, please. Just follow the links in the description to this program. All right, Mike, before I go, I have a question because I am seriously attempting to begin my weekend. And I have a choice. I have a choice between Woodford Reserve, Redbreast,
right,
Witchers, or Whistle Pig.
I would go with yes.
I expected nothing less from you, Mike.
There you go.
Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Throat Punch Thursday. Till then, y'all have fun, stay safe, and we will see you mañana.